All right, welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. It's 10:21 right here on CJAD 800. A Montreal lawyer has sent a formal legal demand to the city of Montreal, to the city's police force, the SPVM, and to the Quebec government following the appearance of political figures being symbolically hung in effigy during a demonstration. The incident has already sparked a heated debate across the city. Some see the effigies as a form of protected political expression, albeit provocative and offensive, while others argue that depicting public figures hanging from nooses contributes to a climate of intimidation and extremism. Let's go to that lawyer. Neil Oberman joins us on the line, a lawyer and partner at Spiegel Ryan. Neil, welcome back to the program.
Good morning. Good morning.
This is, correct me if I'm wrong, this is not the first time you've sent one of these formal legal demands to political leaders, to city officials, right? You've done this before.
Well, regrettably, the answer is yes. I've had to, on behalf of clients, over the currency of the last 2.5 years, send multiple letters, take multiple proceedings in order to protect people and their rights here in the province of Quebec. That is accurate.
Did those previous letters work? Did they lead to results?
The answer depends on your interpretation of result, but let me tell your listeners something very clear. Canada, Quebec, is bound by the rule of law. It's something objective. The law is there. Everybody can read it. Our city, our province, our country is plagued with haters, people who use violence and aggression. It's not something that's protected by the Charter. Free speech is. Freedom of assembly is. Freedom to use violence and intimidation and hate, that's not covered. And I've taken legal proceedings in the Judicial District of Montreal against the City of Montreal. There's a pending mandamus. It's there. It's going to be partially adjudicated on October 7th, 2026. I can't comment about proceedings that are before the court, but what I can tell you is not the first, hopefully will be the last, and we need to bring change because our clients demand that they be able to live in peace and tranquility. That doesn't stop people from expressing themselves. You could hate somebody. You can hate somebody very bad, but there's a line, sir. And the line is violence, intimidation, promoting violence and aggression is not covered. And I want to just say something, and this is something that's very important. I think my clients and other people saw a little bit of themselves in that effigy, if I might say.
Yeah, Neil, I mean, so I want to get to that and this latest letter, okay? So
Sure.
why don't you tell me about what was in the latest letter that you sent about those effigies? And I think you're asking for them to give you an answer in short order. I want to know if you've gotten a response.
So the effigy in question is not a problem in itself. It's the fact that it's covered with a kippah, and the purpose of which was to intimidate, promote violence, aggression against a visible minority. In this particular case, it was the Jewish community. Tomorrow, it might be another community. But the letter demands specific action and a timeline in order to provide a clear and concise manner in which the people of the Greater Montreal will understand how the laws will be enforced. We've given them 10 days. I have not heard, my clients have not heard, and my clients want an answer. They demand an answer.
I guess what I want to get to is, why do you feel you haven't gotten a response from your latest demand? Why do you think there's not a more, a bigger effort to respond to your legal demands?
Well, it's a complicated situation. It deals with geopolitical issues, but really it shouldn't be that complicated. There's something called the Criminal Code. It's a statute. It applies to all Canadians. It applies to people who aren't even Canadians, and it has to be enforced. I am at a loss to explain how come in our city today, in 2026, it is acceptable to block a street, ask for violence, intimidate people, obstruct usage of common areas, all with the police sitting there and looking at it. Now, I'm not criticizing the police. My clients are young people. They have a right to go downtown and be free of aggression, intimidation, violence, and calling for their death. Hanging somebody is calling for a death. You might say, well, it's free speech. I might say, okay, it's free speech. But when you add a religious item on top of the person in a context, sir, there's a context. People shouldn't avoid the context in order to understand the message. since October 8th, 2023. Ask yourselves, how many of these aggressive, intimidating, violent intrusions there have been in our city? Why don't we ask the Montreal police how much time they've spent on overtime to police these people? Why don't we ask business owners how they're impacted? The bottom line is my clients are rightful in their demand to know what the police will do, what the government will do, and more importantly, to draw attention that there's no place for aggression, violence, and intimidation in our society.
What can the courts force people to do here? Like, what can the courts do to force the mayor or the premier or the police? What can they do?
I will repeat myself, sir. There is a mandamus presentable in the court system currently. I'm enjoined. I have to be careful because there's a pending court matter which we filed on behalf of two people. It's there, and it brings into issue the exact issue that is being raised in this demand letter. There's a police force. There is a charter of the City of Montreal. They're bound to provide certain services, and people have a right to access public areas. Again, I want to remind your listeners, this isn't about free speech and freedom of assembly. You know, the criminal code prohibits 3 or more people from gathering for the purposes of disturbing a neighborhood. And to add more crime to it is when you cover your face in the commission of that crime. How come the police aren't doing anything? How come it's okay to incite violence, aggression against a visible minority? By the way, what happens to one community will happen to all communities. We demand, on behalf of our client, justice. Quebec is a tolerant, accepting place. People need to understand that what they're seeing on the streets is not that. It is not Canada. It is not Quebec. And it's certainly not acceptable for my two clients that were intruded upon by people who don't respect the law. Have you asked yourself about the person who was there, that I cannot mention a name, who was on probation at the time and had a probation order saying, keep the peace, act in good order? How come nobody talks about that? It's in the demand letter.
Let me ask you about the effigies here, where they, and I've seen the statement, I've read parts of the statement sent out by the protesters, where they say this was entirely political figures. You make of it what you want, but it was political figures here. What do you say that? Do they have a plausible case that, it was just political speech?
Why don't we ask this so-called organization, what's their current address? Who are their current directors? What's their fax number? What's their email address? What's their cell number? And why don't we put a face to those people? And why don't they come and tell the good citizens of Quebec who they are, who they're paid by, what they do, and how come their explanation seems to be plausible only for them? Look, people are outraged. It's not only one community that's outraged. Everybody's outraged. Why? Because you know hate and you know violence and you know aggression when you see it, sir. And people have seen a little bit of themselves in those effigies.
Are you disappointed? Are you disappointed in the mayor, the premier, the prime minister? Are you disappointed in those political figures? Do they need to be doing more here?
I'm an attorney, Elias, and I don't put an emotional play into this. I play a legal, objective role. There is law. There is rule of law. It has to be applied objectively to all people, regardless of their color, of their orientation, of their religion. My clients demand that the law be applied. People keep saying, what can we do to change things? It's very simple. Apply the law. Stop making new laws that you don't apply and apply the current existing iteration of the law, which is amply able to cover what we're seeing here. My clients demand that things be dealt with properly. Whether I personally am satisfied, dissatisfied is irrelevant. Here's what's relevant. My clients saw themselves in that effigy, and I bet you bottom dollar, a lot of your listeners will see themselves in there. Where do we live? This is Canada. This is Quebec. It's 2026. We must reject this as a community at large, because what happens to one community will happen to all communities.
Neil, thanks very much for coming on. Appreciate your time.
Have a great day.
Neil Oberman is a lawyer and partner at Spiegel Ryan.
An iHeartRadio experience.
Jelly Roll, live in Quebec City at Festival d'été de Quebec.
Presented by Bell in collaboration with Coors Light.
You ain't nothing but a liar. You could win VIP tickets for 2 for July 19th.
With flights, hotel,
and $1,000 cash.
I'm wide awake and I'm dreaming.
Download the iHeartRadio app.
Listen to Pure Country for 10 minutes and enter to win.
Jelly Roll, live
at FEQ.
day you listen is another chance to win.